Cricbuzz Unplugged, Adam Collins. I'm thrilled to have James Pattinson with me, standing in the middle of Worcester, where you're playing a tour game at the moment. You're having a game off, actually, due to your work in the Test match last week at Birmingham. To start with, how wonderful is it that you're back in the baggy green playing for Australia again?
Yeah, look, it's pretty special. I suppose, I went under the knife probably about a year and a half ago now, and probably since then my goal was to get back to this Ashes series and try and get a game, and standing here now, I've done that, and we've managed to go 1-0 up in the series. So yeah, it's pretty exciting times at the moment. The boys are playing some really good cricket, and the group are loving it at the moment.
I think we spoke around the time you were going to get your back surgery, what would have been 18 months ago now. There was no guarantee you'd play red ball cricket ever again.
No, there wasn't. I suppose I thought maybe that going under the knife and getting surgery was probably my best chance of getting back to red ball cricket. I think obviously with the amount of back injuries, and not just the amount of injuries but the same injury reoccurring over and over again, it was probably one of those things where I had to go and try and get a little bit of help from a few metal plates and that to try and keep me on the park a bit longer, and obviously it went through my mind to maybe give up red ball cricket and play just the white ball cricket, but in the end I love playing Test cricket. I love playing 4-day cricket. It's the pinnacle of cricket, and I think everyone loves it, that format the most. So for me it was a pretty easy option.
Those really long periods of rehab, how did you keep the enthusiasm up? I assume it's quite a gruelling process.
Yeah, look, it is. I think the big thing for me this time, it was something new. Going under the knife, having surgery, it was something new for me. It's not sort of just, you're trying to get as strong as you can and then hopefully just pray that it doesn't come back. It was sort of, it gave me a bit more confidence as well. As much as it was probably a harder rehab this time in terms of the pain and the soreness that I was getting, it took a little bit longer, but I just thought, it was a bit of a change. It's something different, and it was almost sort of like a freshen up and a different approach to my rehab. So it was gruelling and it was long at times, but it's times like last week that make it all worth it.
And the pace seems to still be there as well. I guess there would have been some fear coming back from surgery like that you wouldn't be able to bowl as quickly, but we saw in the Sheffield Shield back end, the final especially, and last week at Birmingham, that you got the same wheels.
Yeah, look, that was probably the one thing as well. Like, you're always, when you go into those risky sort of procedures, you're always, there's some things that can go wrong. For me, it's good that I've been able to keep my pace, and my back's pulling out really good at the moment, and ticking a lot of boxes. So it's just great to be involved with the Australian cricket team again. It's the first time in a long while we've had all our bowlers on the park, and it's a great group of guys to work with. We've seen today when we after the first test we come out and play a tour game later, and we've got Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazlewood and Michael Nessa bowling some pretty good gas out there. So it's it's good for the Australian bowling stocks at the moment.
And in terms of your own development in this side for the next few Test matches, the staff have been pretty upfront. You can rotate you guys around because it is such a deep pool. You're pretty cool with that, aren't you? You're okay with the idea of if you need to miss a test at some stage for your body, you're relaxed.
I think so. I think with what I've been through, I think I have to accept that. Obviously we've got a bit of a break now. I think we've got 9 days in between the Lord's Test and the first one, but then there's pretty much 3 days between the next one. So, if I manage to play either of them, I probably, even one of those Test matches, I'll be happy. So, I've come into optimistic that just to be in the squad's great. If I play 2 or 3 games and get through it with an Ashes victory, it's been a good campaign.
Do you sometimes think this is a ground where you played a tour game back in 2013? It feels like a million years ago, your first iteration as a Test cricketer. Do you sometimes pinch yourself and think everything that's happened between 2013 and 2019? Yeah,
a little bit. It's been a long road, but also I've had a lot of great life experiences as well. I've got married, have a kid in that space too, and sometimes you think back and everything's not all about cricket. It's a small part of your life, cricket, and then obviously we're having a family and that sort of thing that takes up most of it as well. So I was always optimistic that I could get back and play at the highest level, but I also knew that sometimes it doesn't work out for people, and if it didn't work out for me, I would have cracked on and got on with something else. But I'm lucky enough to be standing here in the squad for the Ashes, and having played a game and getting a win in the Ashes is something that's pretty special.
And you're still kept close to your roots, haven't you? You're still mates with the guys you grew up with in South East Melbourne?
Yeah, definitely. I had about 10 mates who came out to the Test last week, and the boys hit it pretty hard. They were only in town for a week, and I was just chatting to a few of them last week, at the end of the game, and said, look, it's a pretty special test for them to turn up to. They've seen some wonderful cricket. They've seen Steve Smith come back and score a couple of hundreds, and the game ebbed and flowed, and it finished on day 5. And to get a Test win at Edgbaston, where we haven't won for a long while, is pretty special. So the boys are pretty rapt. They made the decision to get over.
In closing, if you are Ashes winners at the end of this series and you're part of it, having been so far away a couple of years ago, what would it mean to you?
Yeah, look, it would mean a lot. I think it'll mean a lot to everyone. It's been a number of years since an Australian team's been able to come over here and get the Ashes win. But we know it's a long series. Obviously, we've started the series really well. There's one thing that we're definitely not doing is getting too far ahead of ourselves. I think in the past where we've gone 1-0 up in series and then obviously haven't won many more games, and I think we can learn from that. And I think all the boys will know that it's hard work, and the next encounter is Lords. And I think the big mantra from the group at the moment is just living in the moment and taking each game as it comes. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I think it's really important.
James Pattinson, congratulations on your comeback, being on this tour, bowling so well. Thanks for joining Cricbuzz.
Cheers, thanks very much, mate.